Not all spells are created equal in Squad Busters. In fact, some are way better than the others. So in this video, we're gonna rank them all in a tier list, so you get a better sense of which spells you should hold on to and prioritize, and which spells you should throw at your earliest opportunity, or even which you should use to trade up for a better one. This list is not only informed by my experience climbing to the top 50 and playing over 2,000 games, but also I reviewed this list with Renzai, who's in the top 40, ranked globally as well, and this pulls data from the Royale API website, where they have all of the details about exactly how much damage each spell is doing. So this video has not just my opinion, but also another top-ranked player, and also data supporting it about how these things actually work, not just opinions. So let's get after it. The first thing we're dropping in here at the D tier is the cannon. The cannon is actually great. Getting a bunch of cannons and putting them into a single spot is awesome, but as far as spells go, it's pretty basic. It holds a lot of value to you at the start of a match when people don't have a lot of punch, and the DPS it brings is relatively high compared to what squads will become, and it can help you clear out an area very quickly. I like the cannon spell. You want to throw those down and take advantage of those. Really, every time I see them on the map, I want to pick it up and put it somewhere, but there are just way more impactful spells. And another spell you'll get right away that is way more impactful is going to be the bomb spell. The bomb spell I'm going to put at a B. Now, the reason we put the bomb spell at the B tier and the cannon spell at the D tier is that the bomb can actually disrupt an enemy squad in an extremely meaningful way. And if you land that shot, you could split a squad, and that is the difference between winning and losing a fight. Spells that can win and lose fights definitely deserve a high rank. It does 300 damage to everything it hits, regardless of whether or not that unit is fused, which brings us now to the lightning spell. The lightning spell also I would put at the B tier. And they say lightning doesn't strike twice. This lightning spell strikes 3 different targets. And the lightning spell, therefore, is more valuable at the start of the match. Really, it'll make somebody freak out anytime because it's such a high amount of damage. The amount of damage you get from a lightning spell is actually 550. But 550 damage hitting 3 targets is enough to freak out an enemy squad. And when you think about it, that might take almost like half of an enemy's health. And at the start of the game, when they only had 3 units, you just cut their whole enemy squad health in half. That is insane. I don't think it's exactly 50%. But you get what I'm trying to say here. Lightning spell, insane toward the start, still will make enemies freak out later. We're putting it at a B because, yeah, it can really make an enemy panic, and it is powerful. And on the topic of making enemies panic with powerful spells, the log. Also, I think solidly at the B tier. The log will disrupt an enemy unit, but it does the knockback always based off of a direction away from your armies. So it will roll people away from you. Now, if you trap somebody in a corner, they are wrecked. I have done this. It is amazing. So log can be used offensively to trap somebody, but the more likely use is a defensive pushback to shove someone away from you. The fact that it is versatile, I put it at a B. You could argue it might belong perhaps at the C tier because it's not as punchy and versatile as like the bomb, and the lightning spell is just intimidating. But I think the log, it deserves its B. It can save your life, and that is really valuable in times when you're getting pursued. It just ends the pursuit. Super, super strong. Which brings us to the heal spell. The heal spell lasts for a solid 8 seconds, and according to the Royale API website, it is going to heal you 114 health per second. That happens very quickly, by the way. The heal happens every 0.4 seconds. It's a heal of 48. So fusion troops will heal for a grand total of 3,192 hit points, and a regular unit will heal for a grand total of 912. I find that you can still push through the damage of a heal spell, but I will sometimes even pop this somewhat proactively to keep an enemy away from me if I think they are going to win this exchange either way. The heal spell is very visible, bright green circle around you. It is a solid deterrent. And even as a deterrent, it is valuable. So we're gonna cook this thing up at a B, but it's time that we put some spells on here that are ranked a little bit differently than a B, okay? And the spell I wanna put on here is the freeze spell. Now the freeze spell, I'm gonna drop it an F. It only lasts 3 seconds, which is really, 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 really short. It will stop an enemy almost in their tracks. It's a movement multiplier of 0.6, so a 40% reduction in an enemy's movement speed. And it is a hit speed multiplier of 0.75, so a 25% reduction in their attack speed. It's sort of like a reverse rage spell, but not nearly as good as rage, which we're going to talk about in just a minute. But the thing is that I find I will almost always trade out a free spell for something better. It might stop an enemy from chasing you, but you'd probably rather have had the log anyways. When it works, it does stop somebody. If you use it on for someone that's already on top of you and committed to a fight, it will slow their attack speed a little, but I think compared to your other options, it's just not as strong. If you're getting value from this video, consider smashing the subscribe button. I post daily Squad Busters videos, and ever since the game launched, I've been streaming every single day, although I'll probably start doing highlight reels on the weekends instead of streaming 7 days a week and doing a video. It's been a lot. Now, since I mentioned the Rage spell, we may as well rank this thing, and I'm going to rank the Rage spell at an A. What a powerful spell. It increases your damage dealt by 60%, so this will just scale with the power of your squad, and also that lasts for 10 seconds. 10 seconds? 60% damage. Do you see why that's an A and a 3-second free spell is an F? Really huge difference here between these things. So Bomb, Lightning, Log, the heal spell, they might win you a fight, but if you have a rage spell and your enemy doesn't, you are in a great spot. It gives a bright red indicator around your squad, which is a huge deterrent for enemies that probably just turn around and run the other way. And if you pop it after the enemy's already committed to you, they are in big trouble. It is one of my favorite spells in the game and is matched only by the Shrink spell. Now, the Shrink spell is not as versatile, but it is in some ways more powerful. The Shrink spell is a 90% reduction in damage dealt. Enemies that are shrunk are not doing much damage, folks. Although it doesn't force your enemy away from you with a knockback, it makes it so that if you are ever in a Shrink spell, the fight is over. The Shrink spell literally ends the fight, because if you stay in a fight where you are shrunk, you're cooked, you're done. 90% damage reduction, I'm sorry, I don't care what you've got, you're not beating this opponent unless they're down to their last unit and you've still got like 10, right? It is a super powerful spell, but not quite as good as a Rage spell. Rage spell goes with you wherever you go. Shrink spell, the enemy can just walk away from it, okay? So unlike the Rage spell, which will come with you, the Shrink spell, it's a template on the ground. I still give it the A. I still think it's better than the spells we've got at B, but let's talk now about the Furnace. The Furnace is pretty cool. It's going to summon fire spirits, and those fire spirits might actually do splash damage. I'm not totally sure, but I do know that when the Furnace expires, which is, by the way, after like 30 seconds, it lasts a long time if nobody's hitting it, it is going to drop another, I think, 8 more fire spirits. That is a lot of damage that this thing can deal. I would actually put this thing all the way up in B. It is better than a cannon, I find, and it is a bigger deterrent than a cannon. And actually, at this point, we've covered every single spell that you can get by doing the events in game, and you can unlock these completely free to play. Pretty sweet. There are, however, 5 spells that can be given to you by characters in the game. So let's start with the Witch, giving you a skeleton barrel. The skeleton barrel is kind of neat. It summons something like 8 skeletons that fight for you, and it does do a small amount of damage and a very small knockback effect exactly where it lands. I mean, it is a tiny radius, but like, it's another one of those spells. You just get rid of the darn thing and try to find something better. I would put this at an F. And a part of the reason I put it at an F is because pretty much anytime I could pick up a cannon, I will throw away the skeleton spell, pick up the cannon, and drop a cannon down. I would probably rather do that than like hold on to the skellies. So while it is kind of neat to get a spell, the Witch giving a spell here is not all that exciting. Then we've got Pam's Heal Station. And Pam's Heal Station is really good when it's good, but often it does almost nothing, is a little bit disappointing. So the Heal Station has a hit point pool, and for as long as it still has hit points, it will be healing. And the problem here is that it is a pretty small radius on the heal station. Even if you fuse your Pam, when you open a chest, you'll get a very big heal station. But that's not what we're talking about. We are talking about the spell Pam gives you with a heal station. The radius is small, the healing is moderate. You can in fact drop a heal station right on top of where you are, and that is a very powerful effect. You just tap the heal spell and it'll drop it right on top of you. Don't try to like angle it anywhere. But even still, if you are thinking, man, I need a heal for this fight, I'm fighting, I need a heal, it's too late. By the time the couple seconds elapse that the heal station is down and doing its thing, you're gonna get cooked. So I would put the heal station at a D. There are powerful things you can do with it. Like for example, you wanna stand in the center of the map on the gem mine, plunk down the heal station in advance of anybody showing up, but before the ring drops or the gem mine opens, like, yeah, you're gonna be really difficult to approach. So you can use it pretty strategically that way, but I find that it's not something I get a ton of value from. Certainly not compared to what this next spell is really cool. The Expo is available from the Ultra form of the Queen, and I'm gonna put this at the C tier. It is a better cannon, but let me explain. Unlike a cannon, it shoots 3 arrows. And if only 1 arrow hits your target, it's actually less damage than the cannon. But if all 3 arrows hit your target, it's almost 3 times as much damage as a cannon. So it is a very powerful spell. I feel like it lasts longer than a cannon somehow. Is that actually true? But regardless, it's a pretty sick pickup. And according to the Royale API site, your Archer Queen can even enhance the attack speed of any nearby friendly units that are ranged, which could include the Expo and also could include the cannon. But I would just put it a tier above the cannon. I wanted a way to differentiate. It is better than the cannon, okay? And I would put it a tier above a cannon. It is not as life-changing as the furnace or the bomb or any of those other things. But if you actually have a lot of those Expos down, hey, yo, it is scary. And when you get a fusion of an Archer Queen, you will get 2 Expos. You get an Expo for your 3rd Archer Queen, and when it fuses, it drops another one. The same is true of other units, like, for example, the Pam, but let's talk about the Royale King. And unfortunately, the Royale King summons a little knight for you in his spell. It does do a knockback when you throw this thing down, okay? But just like the Skeleton Barrel, I'm gonna put this at an F. I think it's about the same tier. You should use it at an early opportunity. If you're extremely skilled, you could throw it right onto an enemy unit and you'll get a knockback effect. It is very small, but it's not very powerful. The Elite Recruit will last in upwards of 60 seconds, but it will not come with you if the action goes somewhere else. So it can be valuable, but in general, I would say the Royale King is just not something I'm hunting for. This, of course, leaves the final spell, which is Super Rage. And there's a reason the S tier exists. It's for this spell. The Super Rage spell does 100% bonus damage, and it lasts for 15 seconds, by the way. So it lasts 50% longer than a rage spell, and it does more damage than a rage spell. A rage spell was 60% damage boost. This is a 100% damage boost. That is disgusting. Now, people actually get very confused about the Barbarian King. He's actually not really an attacker. He's a defender, okay? And that's how they title him in game. And his role is primarily to be enhancing the attack speed of the other units that are in your squad and making sure that they're kicking a lot of damage in. But when you have a Super Rage spell at the Ultra tier, I've used it, it is gross, man. And so this is where we land with our tier list. The majority of these spells are very obtainable with the blue border, but the yellow border spells are a little bit more tricky. They come from units that you need to take to different star levels, and it is a long freaking time or a lot of money to get the Super Rage spell and the Expo spell. But if you want to see what my reaction was pushing to the Ultra tier, I've got 2 videos for you that you might consider checking out. Check the cards in the end screen to see what it cost me to unlock my Ultra units, and I have every single one at the Ultra tier, and my reaction a day later about how much more powerful they really were.